Harry tells Channel 4 News Israel should urgently open food and medical corridors to Gaza, but refuses questions about his uncle's arrest.
Food and medical supplies, the basic needs for full access for humanitarian organisations to be able to deliver that aid to the people that need it the most.
Now, Prince Harry has told this programme that food and medical aid corridors urgently need to be opened to help people in Gaza. The Duke of Sussex was speaking in Jordan, where he and Meghan met children at a refugee camp at the invitation of the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus. Paul McNamara has been speaking to both men and joins us from Jordan. Paul.
Yeah, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire. Nowhere in the region is shouldering as much of the burden as here in Jordan, and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were left in no uncertain terms about just how desperate the situation is over the last 2 days. They are walking a diplomatic tightrope. Prince Harry's people did not want him answering questions about Israel. The Prince did not want to answer questions about his uncle, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, because the fear is that then every headline would be about that and not about what is unfolding in Gaza and the refugee camps here in Jordan. And in fairness, it's a standpoint that they have backed up with cash. $500,000, which they donated to humanitarian organisations, including the World Health Organization, just before Christmas. Speaking to the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, he said actually that money attracted yet more money. But the need here is vast, as you're about to see from our report, and a warning: it contains disturbing images from the start.
A trickle that should be a torrent. At the specialty hospital in Jordan's capital, they want more patients, more evacuees from Gaza. Patients like 14-year-old Aisha, who had to wait 5 months for the treatment she needs from an Israeli airstrike that killed her 8-year-old brother.
I woke up and I thought my leg was going to split in half. There was only a small part holding it together. I thought I lost my leg. I started screaming, begging, please don't amputate my leg. Do anything, but don't amputate it.
As hard as it is to get patients out of Gaza, it's equally difficult to get many medical supplies in because of Israeli restrictions. A shortage of equipment, a shortage of people who can use it too.
Many of the doctors in Gaza, they died because of the war, many. And many of the specialties, there's no doctors that cover that specialties anymore. And many doctors from all the world, they try as much as they can to get inside, but it's not allowed.
The ceasefire in Gaza was declared 4 months ago. This was the scene east of Gaza City today. Palestinian health officials say 600 people, including children, have been killed here since October. Israel says it's near daily strikes or retaliation against militants who violated the truce. It's not just Palestinians that have fled to Jordan. This vast refugee camp is home to more than 50,000 Syrians, many of whom don't want to return despite the fall of the Assad regime.
I want to be in the future doctor.
Oh, and do you want to be in Jordan, being a doctor?
Yes.
Jordan's home?
It's New Syria, in Jordan.
For 2 days, the World Health Organization has hosted the Duke and Duchess of Sussex in Jordan, a chance to see how their $200,000 donation is being spent and shine a spotlight on the WHO's work. But it's an organization the US has withdrawn support and funding for at a time of exceptional need.
Well, earlier on I caught up with Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the head of the World Health Organization, and I started by asking him to paint a picture for us of just how broken the healthcare system is in Gaza.
The current humanitarian situation in Gaza is catastrophic. Of course, we welcome the peace deal, and we hope that will turn into a permanent ceasefire. But the situation is still catastrophic because, there is extreme deprivation of the population, and at the same time, the healthcare system is actually shattered. So that's in general what the situation is. Of course, there is improvement since the ceasefire, but it's a marginal improvement, and a lot has to be done.
But in your assessments, which the WHO must be doing safety assessments, does the Israeli argument stand up?
I think in terms of the extent of control they have, the risk they say is minimized, so I don't see it. I think they can open up more. And that's what I was expecting also with the ceasefire, but that's not happening. It's really a marginal improvement, and I hope they will improve.
You are facing a huge demand for what the WHO does for your services at a time where you face a bit of a funding crisis and the USA has pulled out of the WHO. How detrimental is what Donald Trump has done to what you provide to the world?
Of course, the withdrawal of the US is a lose-lose one, because it's not about the world only. And, staying in WHO for the US is actually in its best interest. So it's a loss for the US, and it's also a loss for the rest of the world. And with the rest of the world, I said, their contribution and their leadership has been very critical and important, and their cooperation, that's what the rest of the world is missing, but at the same time they will also be losing. Of course, after the announcement of the US withdrawal, we have been doing restructuring, revised our budget. Of course, they have announced that they have left, but it's the Assembly that will decide in May. And as we speak, we still work with them, because, as I said earlier, withdrawing from WHO has consequences for the US. So we still share information with them, because especially on health security, because this is a safety issue. And we want the American people to be safe, so we share information with them on a regular basis.
Given that the WHO is facing a funding crisis, that you've lost the US money, how important is A, the vast sums of money that private donors like the Duke and Duchess of Sussex can give you, and B, the spotlight that they help throw on your work?
It's not just the funding alone. The key is the advocacy we do together. And that itself can also bring resources, because it's not just the money. Even the amount of time the Duke and Duchess are spending in supporting us, the advocacy can bring support, can bring resources, but at the same time can bring awareness as well.
Well, Dr. Tedros and Prince Harry have actually formed quite a close relationship, and rather unexpectedly, Prince Harry then joined us. And again, he's adamant he wants the focus of this trip to be what's unfolding in Gaza and in Jordan, and not what's unfolding in London or Windsor with his family. Look, I understand you don't wish to talk about your family, your uncle, things back in London. You're here because you don't want to distract from the work that you're doing on the WHO and on Gaza. So firstly, why are you here in Jordan? Why is it so important to you?
I think having spoken to Dr. Tedros for many months now, well, years, but specifically months in the lead up to this trip, it was really important for us to highlight the incredible work that Jordan does for this region. I think the work's been going on for decades, but more so recently as being a humanitarian hub for the Middle East, and especially everything that's going on in Gaza and also Syria as well. So I think the world should be incredibly grateful for what Jordan is doing and the moral leadership that it's showing for the world right now.
Yesterday we were with you at a hospital where children are still being brought in who have only recently been injured in Gaza. How important is it that the world continues to pay attention here?
I think it's important for everybody. It's not just for me. It's not just for Dr. Tedros. I think the entire world has spoken up, and there's a lot of stuff in the news. It goes at an incredible pace, and what's been happening in that region has been going on for a long time, and it drops out of the news. So I think it was a really important time for us to collaborate and come here and shine a light and focus on on the very real humanitarian catastrophe that has happened and continues.
We were with you this morning at a charity that is getting food into Gaza and is feeding 1 million people a day, but they're saying they're not getting anywhere near enough food. Medical aid isn't getting in, journalists aren't getting in. Would you like to see an increase on all those things going in? Would you like to see independent journalists being let into Gaza?
I think again the world has spoken many times. So I think yes, everything that I've heard and everything that I've seen, especially from World Central Kitchen, what we heard this morning on the live link, was that the food, the aid corridors need to be opened. They're currently not. And I know that Dr. Tedros has already talked extensively about food and medical supplies. You know, the basic needs for full access for humanitarian organisations to be able to deliver that aid to the people that need it the most.
Dr. Tedros, Duke Sussex, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for that.